Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we are on the 8th chapter of this book, Krishna Consciousness, the Topmost Yoga System. Chapter 8 is entitled Sources of Absolute Knowledge. So like we have been discussing every chapter of this book, origins is found in some lecture, Srila Prabhupada. We traced it all the way from 1968, which were reproduced in articles in Back to God in 1969, and so on and so forth. Somehow or other, this chapter is a challenge for me. I could not find the exact source. I think it's a combination of a few lectures. My logic is that we were coming from 1968, 1969. Last few chapters, we hit 1971. And whatever I tried to find in some of the words in this chapter kind of like pointed me towards lectures from either London, 1971, Tokyo, 1972. So, but again, nothing very solid to show that it's a full flow. So I'm not sure where this chapter actually originates from. My request to all the viewers, whoever's watching, if you ever find out that this chapter is actually based on which lecture, neither could I found it in a BTG article. So if you have, discovered where actually this chapter originates from, exactly which lecture of Srila Prabhupada, please do drop it in the comments and we'll find out. Nevertheless, we are still going to read this. So let's see what Srila Prabhupada has to teach us. Srila Prabhupada says, we require to hear about the method of relishing the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the most elevated text on the science of God consciousness, the matured and ripened fruit of the tree of Vedic wisdom. So this is the one of the initial verses of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Nigama kalpatarur galitam phalam. Galitam phalam is the matured, ripened fruit. The Sanskrit word rasa means juice, just like the juice of an orange or mango. And the author of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Srila Vyasadeva, requests that you kindly try to taste the rasa. Pibata rasamalayam. Pibata Bhagavatam rasamalayam. There's a rasa or juice of the fruit of Bhagavatam. Why should we drink this? Why should we taste it? Why shall I taste the juice of the fruit of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? Because it is the ripened fruit, Galitam Phalam, of Vedic desire tree, Nigama Kalpataru. As a desire tree, whatever you want, you can have from the Vedas. Veda means knowledge. It is so complete that whatever you want to enjoy in this material world or want to enjoy spiritual life, both kinds of knowledge are there. So Vedas are complete. If one wants sense gratification, you can find it in the Vedas. If one wants emancipation, getting out of the material world, you can find it in the Vedas. If you follow the Vedic principles, then you will be happy. This is like the codes of the state or laws of the state. If the citizen obey, then they will be happy. There will be no criminal trespassing and they will enjoy life. The state does not come to you for nothing, just to trouble you, right? But if you live according to the state law, then there is no question of unhappiness. So generally we see who are the people who are afraid or who do not like the police or do not like seeing the police, generally criminals, right? For those who follow the rules, they don't even sometimes realize the presence of police. Similarly, the conditioned soul, the living entity, has come to this material world for enjoyment and for material happiness. And the Vedas are the guidance. All right, enjoy. But you enjoy according to these principles. So you want to enjoy, there's a way in which to enjoy. So that is called the Vedas. Veda means knowledge. Therefore, everything is there. Just as we sometimes perform a marriage ceremony in the temple. What is this marriage ceremony? It is the combination of man and woman, boy and girl. They are already there. They are living like friends. Then what is the use of marriage ceremony? So at the time, free mixing and dating was very common, right? So people do not get married. Srila Prabhupada says, no, live sanely, live, with some social order. It is Vedic, Prabhupada says. The Vedas account for living together, sex life, but under some special regulations that make you happy. So this is where Prabhupada sometimes say that the principles of this regulation, right? These principles, they will set you free. Now, generally, this is kind of like an oxymoron, kind of like ironic. Like, how can rules set you free? How can you enjoy or be free in rules? Well, that's true, actually. If you don't have rules, sometimes it's more chaotic and it's not free. It's very stifling. Now, for example, if you see any professional sport, If you take football, soccer, cricket, whatever it may be, there's always set rules. And if you play according to the rules, it's very interesting. Life becomes very interesting. Or the whole game, the match becomes very interesting. But imagine if there's no rules. Someone says that why should we follow rules? Let me hit the ball, kick the ball, throw the ball any way I like. So then what will happen? There'll be chaos on the field. So-called freedom, so-called independence, but no one enjoys the game. So similarly, life is like that. If one wants to actually live life, cherish life, experience life to its fullest, then one has to follow in the laws given in life. By following that, one can experience the game of life completely. Else, if one thinks that I'll do the way I like, and that is the way I can experience life, then it becomes very stifling. It becomes actually very frustrating, and one cannot enjoy this game. So therefore, rules actually do set us free if it's followed according to the rule maker of the game. The ultimate end is to become happy. If you follow the Vedic rules and restrictions, that will not mean that you'll be kept from eating and not allowed to sleep. So don't think that rules means, oh, I'm going to suffer, or not allowed to defend, or not allowed to have sex life. It's not like that. Your bodily necessities are the same as those of the animals. The animals also eat, they also sleep, they also mate, and they also defend. So we require these things. You understand? But the Vedas prescribe some regulations. You act in this way so that you'll not become unhappy. Like if a person is desirous for sex life, say, okay, fine, get married. It's a clean way, a rule way of actually enjoying. If you follow the regulation, ultimately the result will be that you will be free from material entanglement. This material life is not meant for the spirit soul. It is simply a misunderstanding that you want to enjoy material life. Prabhupada clarifies then to say, actually goal of life is not to enjoy matter. But Krishna, the Supreme Lord, gives us specific orders so that we can enjoy. In such a way, at the end, we will understand that this is not our proper life. Our proper life is spiritual. So by following the rules, trying for sense gratification, after a while, a sane person, comes to realize that there is no rasa, there's no juice in this. This human form of life is perfected as soon as we come to the stage, as soon as we come to the understanding of spiritual existence, that I am Brahman, I am spirit. Otherwise, if I do not take care of my spiritual life, then the result is that I must live as the cats and dogs do. So if one works only following the rules for sense gratification, but does not choose to elevate themselves above this desire, then that also one becomes frustrated. There is every possibility that my next life will be an animal. And if by chance or by freak of nature, I get into animal life, then millions and millions of years will be required before again coming to this human form of life. So one gets recycled in the tabernacle of birth and death. Right? So the human form of life is meant for self-realization, and the Vedas are the direction. Now, in the Bhagavad Gita, you will find that Krishna says that to study or to follow the rules and regulations of the Vedas actually means to come to the understanding of Krishna consciousness. So what is Krishna consciousness? How to come to Krishna consciousness? One should follow the rules and regulations as well as study them, know them. That is stated in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam also. So the Vedas give you a chance to gradually come to the point of understanding Krishna after many, many births. But the Bhagavatam is the essence of life, the ripened fruit of Vedas. So Bhagavad Gita gives you some prescription to at least come to a human point of life. Bhagavatam takes you further, gives you the essence of life. Because the Bhagavatam gives you directly what is needed in your life. The Vedas are divided into four, Sama, Rig, Atharva, Yajur, and these are explained by the Puranas, for which they are 18. Then these are still further explained by the Upanishads, which are 108. The Upanishads are summarized in the Vedānta Sutra, and the Vedānta Sutra is still again explained by Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So here the Vedas expanded into the four Vedas. These four Vedas are the philosophical extraction of the four Vedas are in the Upanishads. The Upanishads are then explained in the Vedanta Sutras. This Vedanta means the Veda Anta, the end of the Vedas. The summary study of the Vedas is the Vedanta. And after writing Vedantas, Vedavyas wrote Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the fruit of all the Vedic literature by the same author. This is the process. So Bhagavatam is the essence of all Vedic knowledge. So there's so many shlokas that come that glorify Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. This Sarva Vedānta Sarambhi, it's the essence of all Vedas. So next paragraph, Srila Prabhupada says, Naimisharanya is a very famous and sacred place in northern India. Okay, Naimisharanya, Kurukshetra, and all that, where all the rishis and sages generally go to aid in spiritual advancement of life. This Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam was first discussed in this age in that forest. So in the forest of Naimisharanya, it's still there existing in India today with the same name. The rishis were there and they were gathering in huge numbers doing yagya for the well-being of the whole world, Vishwa Kalyanam. When it was discussed, the great Saint Suta Goswami was asked by his audience. So Suta Goswami was sitting there in front of all the sages of Naimisharanya, headed by Shaunak Rishi. Now that Krishna has gone back to his abode, so this is what the question they asked. Now that Krishna has gone back to his abode, Krishna has gone, Krishna Swadhamo Pagate. With whom is transcendental knowledge now resting? The Lord has gone, now where is Gyan? The question was raised. Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Krishna. It contained all descriptions of Jnana, Karma, Dhyana, Bhakti, Yoga. Now this inquiry was made. Where can you get spiritual knowledge now that Krishna is gone from our material vision? The answer was that Krishna, having departed, has left us the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. It is the representation, the sound representation of Krishna. Okay. The Bhagavatam is non-different from Krishna as the Gita is non-different from Krishna. So Gita is a book spoken by Lord. Bhagavatam is a book spoken about the Lord. They are non-different. They are absolute. Krishna and Krishna's sound vibration are non-different. Krishna and Krishna's name are also non-different. And Krishna and Krishna's form, again, are non-different. That is absolute. It requires realization, Prabhupada says. For us here in this world, we and our name are not same. We can change our name. We identify for a different person. But in spiritual life, everything is Advaita. Everything is Brahman. So Lord and Lord's name are equally potent. We say Krishna, then Krishna is personally manifested. This Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam are sound incarnations of Krishna. The Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is also the literary incarnation of Krishna and is the fruit of the Vedic knowledge. You may have experienced that there is a bird which is called parrot. The parrot's body is green and its beak is red. The specific qualification of the parrot is that whatever you say, he can imitate. That parrot bird is touching the ripened fruit, and naturally, if the fruit is ripened on the tree, it becomes very tasteful. So we see sometimes this guava, in Hindi they say Peru, right? And parrots love this, they keep coming for them. The most ripened fruit, soft fruit, that is what the parrot comes from. Again, if the fruit is tasted by the parrot, it becomes still more tasteful. Some people say when the parrot touches that fruit if you take, that's the best because it's the most sweetest, having been touched by the beak of the parrot. That is nature's way, Srila Prabhupada says. So here it is said that this Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is just like the ripened fruit of Vedic knowledge, and at the same time, it is touched by Sukadeva Gosvami, Suta's spiritual master. Shuka means parrot in Sanskrit. So Sukadeva Goswami, the parrot-like guru, has spoken Bhagavatam, which then was accepted by Suta Goswami, and Suta Goswami re-spoke Bhagavatam to the sages of Naimisharanya. The Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam was first explained by Sukadeva Goswami, though the author is his father, Vyasa. So Vyasa had compiled the Srimad-Bhagavatam, taught it to his son spoke it to Parikshit Maharaj. In that assembly, Suta Goswami was hearing. Suta Goswami heard it and later narrated to the sages in Naimisharanya. Suka was only 16 years old when he was taught the Bhagavatam and he was illuminated. He was already liberated in the impersonal concept of the Absolute. But after hearing the Bhagavatam from his father, he became attracted by the pastimes of Krishna and became preacher of the Bhagavatam. So it's mentioned that Sukadeva Goswami, when he appeared, he was hiding in his mother's womb for 16 years. He didn't want to come out. He said that to the point that Krishna can assure me that I'll never be caught by Maya, then I will come out. So his father Vyasadeva went to Krishna and asked him, please grant protection from Maya. And Krishna came and told Sukadeva Goswami, don't worry, you come out. And when Sukadeva Goswami came out, a 16-year-old boy, he was very cautious. He was a Brahmavadi. He was completely absorbed in the impersonal conception of the Lord. But when he heard one day some shlokas glorifying the mercy of the Lord and the beauty of the Lord, when he heard the shloka that glorified Putana, when he heard the shloka glorifying the beauty of the Lord, then his heart became melted, he became transformed, and he became a personalist, Vaishnava, in one sense. This is the story. First, he explained it before Parikshit Maharaj, the great king. A short history of Parikshit Maharaj is that he was a very pious king, but unfortunately, by some of his acts, he was cursed by a Brahmana boy, Shringi, to die within 7 days. In those days, if a Brahmana should curse someone, it would come true. They had the power to curse or give benediction. Nowadays, we are doubtful. So Parikshit understood. So Parikshit here is the great grandson of Krishna. Arjuna. So Arjuna's son Abhimanyu, right? And Abhimanyu's son. So Parikshit is the grandson of Abhimanyu. Okay. Sorry, grandson of Arjuna. So Parikshit understood that within a week he would have to die, 7 days. And he prepared himself. He gave up his kingdom, entrusting it to his son, Maharaj Janamejay. And he detached himself from the family and sat down on the banks of Ganges near Delhi. It was not exactly Ganges, it was actually Yamuna. There, because he was a great emperor, many learned sages came. Parikshit now inquired from all the great sages present there, what is my duty? I am going to die within 7 days. Now, what is my duty? You are all learned sages. Please just prescribe for me. Some said to practice yoga. Some said to practice jnana, the cultivation of knowledge. There were different opinions. But at the time, Sukadeva Goswami entered the forest. And although Sukadeva was only 16, he was so learned and reputed that all the old sages, including his father Vyasadeva, stood up to show respect to him. He was so learned. So when he appeared, it was agreed. Here is Sukadeva Goswami. Let him decide what to do. We appoint him as our representative in the assembly of sages. Sukadeva Goswami was thus authorized to speak, and he was asked, what is my duty? I am very fortunate that you have come in this momentous hour. Kindly tell me, what is my duty? Sukadeva Goswami said, all right, I shall explain to you the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And everyone present agreed. As the Bhagavatam was first spoken by Sukadeva Goswami, it is therefore mentioned that as a parrot touches the ripened fruit, it becomes even sweeter. So the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, because it was touched first by Sukadeva Goswami, has become still more tasteful. The idea is that any Vedic literature, especially the Bhagavatam or the Gita, should be learned as spoken by a realized soul. Especially this literature, which is called a Vaishnava literature, should not be heard from persons who are not devotees. So generally all the Shastra, we want to hear from people who have faith. Nowadays people are hearing the meanings of Shastras and Shlokas from social media, Instagram, influencers. But we have to see that we learn it from devotees because who are practicing it, then the real meaning comes forward. This point I have several times stressed. Those who are non-devotees, those who are mental speculationists, those who are fruitive workers, those who are meditators or mystic yogis cannot explain the science of God. This is especially mentioned also by Sanatana Goswami, another great saint. Sanatana Goswami is one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, the immediate disciples and associates of Lord Chaitanya. Those who are not in devotional service, non-godly, those who have no faith in God, such persons should not be allowed to speak on the Bhagavad Gita or Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam or any literature which is in relationship with the Supreme Lord. Right? So it is not that anybody can speak Bhagavatam or the Gita and will have to hear it. No. Sanatana Goswami especially prohibits us. We should not hear of the Supreme Lord from one who is not purified. Vaishnava Mukam. One should not hear from them. So one may ask, how can you taint the words of Krishna, which are naturally transcendently pure? So what if the person is a non-devotee? The word, the Shastra, the knowledge is pure. Right? What is the harm if we hear it from a non-devotee? The question may be raised, Prabhupada says. The example given here is that milk is very nice and nutritious, but as soon as it's touched by a serpent, it becomes poison immediately. Snake comes and drinks the milk. You cannot drink the milk again, it becomes poison. The serpent is very envious. He bites and puts to death immediately, unnecessarily. And therefore, it is considered the cruelest animal among the living entities. In the Shastra, non-violence is recommended, as in every scripture. But the serpent and the scorpion are allowed to be killed. You cannot say that milk is so nutritious and we can drink. What is the harm if it touches by serpents? No, the result will be death. One should not hear at least the Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from those who are not devotees of the Lord, who have no realization and who are envious of him. Their touch renders it poison. The words of the Lord are always subtle, sublime, but as soon as they are touched by the serpent-like non-devotee, one should be very careful about hearing. Okay, because the conclusions will not be right. In the Bhagavatam, it is indicated that as soon as Sukadeva touched it, it became delicious. This is the distinction. Basically, it is the ripened fruit of Vedic knowledge, but at the same time, it has been touched by Sukadeva Gosvami. The Lord is the supreme object of yoga and the reservoir of all transcendental pleasure. He reveals himself only to his devotees, and by the mercy of his devotees, all can relish his intimate association. So, like this in this chapter, we saw very beautifully the source of all Vedic knowledge, absolute knowledge, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, and he has given it in the most perfect condensed form of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And Prabhupada here is encouraging all of us, after reading all these small books, that we should really dive into Bhagavatam verses by verses and enjoy the nectar, especially with the Bhakti Vedānta purpose. So we'll end here. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.